Hey everyone, I have to share this mind-blowing piece from Crypto Basic. They're literally calling XRP the next Amazon. So analyst Nick Anderson is throwing out a $100 price target, and interesting detail, Amazon actually dealt with an SEC lawsuit too. Now when you peek at these two charts up top, you've got Amazon's journey down below. That's XRP doing its thing. This is the exact spot where he's saying we're positioned, just waiting for liftoff. And look, I'm nodding along here. This could totally play out from our current position. But hold up, here's where I go even further. XRP is gonna be massive, like bigger than Amazon massive. So what's happening is the XRP community has dug up this fascinating older debate that compares XRP's long-term growth potential to Amazon's incredible historic climb. Where's all this renewed energy coming from? Well, there's this analysis by Nick Anderson from Bull Runners, and he's genuinely convinced XRP might follow that same exact playbook. Amazon's ridiculously long consolidation phase right before it absolutely skyrocketed into the stratosphere. Everyone's constantly buzzing about XRP's consolidation phase, right? Like how insanely long this thing just chills sideways before it goes absolutely parabolic. I'll break that down more in a second, but Brad Garlinghouse actually dropped this bomb once. What Amazon became for books, that's exactly what Ripple's becoming for cross-border payments. And look, I'm going to be bold here. Ripple's trajectory is pointing towards something bigger than Amazon and Apple put together. XRP too, I genuinely believe it's heading toward that same stratospheric level, eclipsing Amazon and Apple combined. But if we're comparing XRP to anything, forget Amazon for a sec, it's screaming Tesla vibes. XRP versus Tesla charts? Breaking free from these massive long-term consolidation zones is incredibly bullish, just like that article pointed out about Amazon. So check out Tesla's pattern, sideways grind for 1,000 days, then breakout mode, another 2,400 day consolidation, then another nuclear level breakout. XRP is literally following the same blueprint. It crawled sideways for 1,300 days before breaking loose. Fast forward, we're now at 2,800 days. What's your prediction for what happens next exactly? Another face-melting breakout, and don't forget this crucial detail, Tesla also went to war with the SEC. Here's the thing. Whenever you witness a company square up against the SEC in America and emerge victorious, Xrpl just accomplished, like Tesla accomplished, like Amazon accomplished before them, that's when the real fireworks begin. These guys didn't just walk in the door, okay? They went through the entire vetting process, and get this, they literally paid their entry fee to operate in the United States. Then what happens? Their growth absolutely explodes. I'm talking right after the case closes, right after they fork over their payment to play ball in the US market, it just skyrockets. And you know what? If someone asked me to compare XP's chart to anything else out there, I wouldn't even hesitate. It's basically Tesla all over again. All right, now buckle up because this is where things get spicy. Swift is gearing up for a complete transformation. We're not talking baby steps here. They're transitioning from simple messaging to managing entire transactions. We're looking at cross-border value flows powered by digital assets using ISO 222 and the timeline, November 2025. And where's this coming from? Straight from smoke. What we're actually watching unfold right now is ISO going live as we speak. Now, ISO 222 on the surface, sure, it's just a new messaging format, right? But here's what makes it game-changing. It has the capability to incorporate cryptocurrencies. I'm talking XRP, XLM, XDC, you name it. Here's my take. All these people brushing off ISO right now, they're setting themselves up for a rude awakening. I'm telling you, ISO is going to be absolutely massive, and let me break down why. Currently, everyone's stuck using Swift for money transfers, yeah? And nobody's thrilled about it. Why? Because it's sluggish and it costs a fortune. But now we've got ISO 222 stepping onto the scene, and the moment you inject a cryptocurrency like XRP into that message, game over. Everything transforms instantly. It's cheaper. It's lightning fast. So what do you think is going to happen? people are obviously going to migrate to the alternative. That's precisely why I'm sitting here telling you ISO is going to be monumentally bigger than what people are predicting right now. All right, pause and really look at this photo. When this snapshot was captured, Chainlink wasn't even born yet. That's Brad right there, face to face with the IMF president, Christine Lagarde back then. Brad was literally traveling the world, constructing these financial highways everywhere, building out all this infrastructure, and Chainlink, dude, it wasn't even a whisper, not even on anyone's radar yet. Here's what gets me though. You've got all these people acting like Chainlink is the be-all, end-all future. Listen, it's a data coin, right? But what most people are completely missing is the bigger picture here. The thing that's actually gonna rescue Chainlink when push comes to shove, that's gonna be Ripple. Because here's the deal, if you're going all in on something that's married to Swift, you're basically setting your money on fire. Swift's entire existence, it's about to get flipped upside down. We're talking about permanent, massive change. Look at the BRICS nations. They're actively distancing themselves from Swift. And let's be real here, every single person using Swift right now, they're miserable. They're fed up. They're desperately searching for something better. So follow the logic with me. When Ripple steps in and replaces Swift, Ripple's essentially going to be Chainlink's lifeline. And plot twist, Ripple's already teamed up with Chainlink on RLUSD. But then you've got all this FUD circulating, people spreading this nonsense, and I'm just sitting here scratching my head. They're still calling XRP a meme coin in 2025. Can you believe that? Just listen to this.
And the thing that I would be confident of, you're going to have the old school, meme coins, Litecoin, Cardano, etc., like Ripple. Who knows what's going to happen with those? But I don't think you're going to have successful meme coins from like the 2022 era on. So meaning, if chains like Aptos and Sui and Story and others don't actually get usage, I don't think in 5 years they're going to be valued where they are today. They will go down.
These folks are out here genuinely convinced that everyone's just gonna hop on the Bitcoin train, and digital asset investors sitting back saying, I've got 3 more grown men about to break down in tears, and honestly, I cannot wait to witness that. They love calling XRP Ripple and labeling it a meme coin, but then they're constantly shoving that El Salvador story down everyone's throats, right? Well, Cyprus just walked in and completely destroyed what these Bitcoin maximalists conveniently hide from you. El Salvador's grand Bitcoin as legal tender experiment. It's now officially on record as a catastrophic failure in legitimate academic research. And trust me, the findings don't hold back. Technological disasters across the board. That Chivo wallet was a train wreck, constant glitches, security breaches, identity theft, compromising over 5.1 million citizens. We're talking about their personal data. Then market volatility struck like a hammer. Bitcoin's price absolutely tanked, dragging El Salvador's reserves deep underwater, vaporizing millions in value. And those big financial inclusion promises they made completely shattered. Despite all their massive claims, a measly 1.3% of remittances actually use Bitcoin, while most citizens are outright rejecting it. We had massive public rejection and international pushback happening. Regular citizens were saying no thanks, while the IMF and World Bank were basically breathing down the country's neck, demanding they dial it way back. And listen, I'm not just making this up. There's actual documentation proving all of this went down. But you know what's wild? Every single day, Bitcoin maximalists are all over X pushing this El Salvador success story. Funny how they conveniently dodge the conversation about it being a total disaster, right? Here's what I honestly think. Eric Trump is definitely routing his Bitcoin through the XRP ledger. I'm not even slightly uncertain about this because just look at how confident the man is. He's supposedly moving millions upon millions in Bitcoin for basically pocket change. We're talking under a penny, and it takes mere seconds. Show me another place where that's actually happening. I'll wait. But this whole narrative keeps getting amplified because they need to keep the dream alive. When what we're really looking at is something totally different. The cold, hard truth. Holding Bitcoin is basically like holding a meme coin. There's no actual use case attached to it, no real utility whatsoever, and calling it a store of value, come on. The instant any kind of conflict emerges, watch Bitcoin's value nosedive straight into the ground, and that cycle is just going to keep on repeating. This is precisely why I'm counting down the days until XRP and all these utility-focused cryptocurrencies finally take center stage. We need to break away from all this, seriously decouple ourselves, because once we do, we're going to witness something incredible, a totally new dawn. And I'm not just saying that. This is the actual reality we're living in right now. Think about it. XRP got absolutely strangled by regulatory capture and that brutal SEC lawsuit for 5 whole years. Meanwhile, Bitcoin, oh man, Bitcoin has enjoyed this crazy regulatory monopoly for literally the entire history of crypto. And why? Because everyone conveniently pretended they had no clue who Satoshi was, even though there's literally a video out there of a Homeland Security agent straight up saying they met with the 4 Satoshis. Like, come on. But here's where it gets interesting. That monopoly, it's about to crumble with new legislation coming down the pipeline. The regulatory level playing field that Bitcoin maximalists have been absolutely dreading. The lock-in is coming, folks, and they definitely don't want a level playing field because right now, everything, and I mean everything, benefits Bitcoin. The mainstream media coverage, the news cycles, the entire narrative, it all props up Bitcoin. You've got all these people jumping into crypto, and what happens on day one? First thing out of their mouths is Bitcoin, 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 and tons of these people are literally paid actors getting money to talk about it. So obviously they're going to keep pushing that same narrative as long as those checks keep rolling in. Make no mistake, Bitcoin has a full-blown marketing team behind it. So this gem is coming from Ash Crypto, and we're talking about mainstream media news in the United States here. Here's something mind-blowing. Crypto has literally minted more millionaires than any other asset class on this planet. Like, seriously, let that sink in for a moment, but, and this is a big but, nobody's waking up rich the next morning. It genuinely requires time and patience, my friends. I hammer this point home constantly, especially with folks who are brand new to crypto and just getting their feet wet with their first investments. I'm super upfront with them from day one. Hey, you're not going to strike it rich overnight, all right? This journey takes real actual time. Just consistently buy whatever fits your budget, stay the course, and eventually you absolutely will hit that millionaire status from your crypto portfolio. That's the truth. But wow, the number of people who just can't stick it out is honestly staggering. Like, it's heartbreaking, really. Right? Throughout my time in this space, I've watched countless people come in all hyped up and then bail out somewhere down the road. And guess what usually triggers their exit? The price drops on some random day. Boom, they're gone. They had this fantasy that millions would roll in within a few weeks, maybe a month or two tops, every single time, even during those gnarly bear markets when it seemed like XRP was finally having its breakthrough moment. Like, yes, this is happening. Bam, something yanked it right back down. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, it was just riding the waves with the rest of the market. We are literally standing at the doorway of regulatory clarity right now. A level playing field is finally coming. ISO certification is within reach, and the catalysts for XRP, they just keep piling on top of each other. If you've been patient enough to make it this far, if you've weathered the storm to get to this exact moment, then congratulations, because everything you've been waiting for is about to unfold. We're all going to get rich together, people. Now check this out. In just 2 days from now, October 6th marks the beginning of a brand new era for the RealFi ecosystem. They're laser focused on pushing adoption through the roof and integrating this technology on a massive scale. It's all built on top of the XRP ledger. It's powered by the Real token, and RealFi is literally pioneering the future of real estate rewards and payments. As innovation in global real estate and finance keeps exploding forward, we've already blown past $650 trillion in total value. And Real Fee, they're standing proud right at the very forefront of this massive global shift. Here's the thing though, I've honestly never talked about RealFi until now. So many of you have been flooding my comments asking about it, so let me break down how I see this whole thing. Real estate is on the verge of becoming a fully tokenized asset, which means you'll be able to jump into real estate investing with as little as $50 or $100. Look, we've been watching this whole thing unfold with Lofty over on Durand a couple years back, and guess what? This trend is basically spreading like wildfire across all these networks now. And honestly, I'm pumped that it's finally making its way to the XRP ledger because, come on, everybody loves talking about real estate, right? The problem is, most folks just don't have that kind of money lying around to snag an entire property. Or maybe they're sitting there thinking, do I really want to go all in on a whole house through these types of projects? And here's what's awesome. You literally don't have to buy the entire house. Picture this. Maybe you pulled the trigger on this property, but then you realize the neighborhood's pretty rough and those returns you were dreaming about, yeah, they're just not happening. Well, here's the cool part. You can actually just cash out your stake and hop right over to a nicer area and throw your money into a completely different house instead. Real estate is transforming right under our noses, and let me tell you, this evolution is only going to pick up more steam moving forward. Real estate is basically going digital, folks. This thing is moving at breakneck speed, so yeah, count me in as a supporter. Now, here's my confession. I haven't actually invested in Real Token myself. You know what? Maybe that's something I need to seriously consider, and I can already picture it. Most of you are probably smashing that keyboard right now going, Rich, this is literally the opportunity of a lifetime. Jump in now before prices explode. But I absolutely had to bring this up because real estate, that's an asset that's only going to keep pushing higher and higher into the future. So if you could literally become a real estate mogul through tokenization, oh man, absolutely. I tell you, go all in, no question. Because think about it, you're completely avoiding all those headaches, you know? You're not that poor guy out there doing showings with potential renters. You're definitely not the one crawling around fixing leaky pipes at 3 o'clock in the freaking morning. You're just sitting back, reaping all those rewards as an investor. Man, that's what gets me excited about it. And the freedom to pull out whenever you want, pivot into something completely different, maybe a different property, totally different neighborhood, lock in those better income returns off of that new property. You know what I mean? There's literally so many angles I could dive into when it comes to real estate, but here's what's wild. It's all on the XRP ledger, which adds massive value to XRP too. So, hey, you already know I'm all for it. But here's the real talk. At the end of the day, what I'm genuinely waiting for, it's XRP to finally start its epic breakout. Because when that moment hits, it is gonna be an insanely wild time in crypto, trust me. And I am. Guys, I am so ridiculously optimistic that it's gonna happen sooner than you think. And until it does, stay patient, stay positive, yeah? All right, I'm gonna wrap up this video now. I wanna thank you all for hanging out and watching. I'll see you in the next one, my friends. Have an amazing night.